You're not broken because you have problems. You're human. Missed buses, awkward emails, forgotten deadlines, annoying, a job lost, a heart cracked, money that doesn't stretch, heavy. But here's the quiet secret nobody teaches in school. The real fight is rarely out there. It's in here, between your ears, behind your ribs. When your inner world is noisy, even a raindrop sounds like thunder. When your inner world is steady, you can walk through storms and hear yourself think. Today, you're not getting a summary. You're getting a system, a complete, original playbook to turn mental chaos into clarity. A formula you can finish in one sitting and carry for life. Short, dense, practical, made to be replayed on hard days. We'll build it together, brick by brick. Why problems are not enemies but instructors. How to quiet the inner storm before you move a muscle. A step-by-step method for solving almost anything. Daily habits that protect your peace like armor. The relationship skills that turn conflict into understanding. Peace is not no problems. Peace is power in problems. Let's wire that into you. Everyone fantasizes about the day everything finally aligns. Inbox at zero, relationship smooth, wallet overflowing, nothing to fix. Spoiler, that day doesn't exist. Life moves like a river, sometimes glass calm, sometimes broken by rocks. The rocks never ask permission. But rocks are not punishments. They are shape. They teach you how to steer. Think back. Name your hardest seasons. The exam you were sure you'd fail but didn't. The breakup that felt like an ending but wasn't. The month the money almost ran out and you found a smarter way to live. In the moment, each felt unbearable. In memory, many became upgrades. They toughened your mind, sharpened your attention, forced you to learn what comfort never would. Let's reframe with a story. In a quiet village, a farmer's only horse bolted into the hills. Such terrible luck, neighbors cried. The farmer shrugged. We'll see. Days later, the horse returned with 3 wild companions. You're blessed, the village shouted. We'll see, he said. The farmer's son tried breaking one of the wild horses, fell, and shattered his leg. Disaster, they moaned. We'll see, said the father. A month later, soldiers came conscripting young men for a brutal war. They skipped the farmer's injured son. The village finally realized, what shows up as poison can arrive as protection. Problems are not labels. They are ungraded assignments. The grade appears later when the lesson lands. First switch. Stop asking, why me? And start asking, what is this trying to teach me? The moment you move from blame to curiosity, your nervous system loosens. You stop fighting reality and start learning from it. That is the threshold into wisdom. Picture this, you're driving in heavy rain. The road is slick, thunder rolls, flashes of white cut the sky. You grip the wheel. Suddenly the windshield fogs. And now the real danger isn't the weather. It's that you can't see. This is how most of us handle problems. We attack the storm before we clear the glass. We fire off texts, make impulsive choices, explain too much, promise too quickly, while our mind is fogged by fear, anger, or panic. Then we wonder why we skid. A king once asked his sages, what is a human's greatest power? One said, wealth. Another, strength. A third, knowledge. The oldest advisor smiled. The greatest power is a peaceful mind because it decides how you use wealth, strength, and knowledge. Without peace, those 3 will use you. A restless mind turns small problems into avalanches. A calm mind turns avalanches into steps. How do we unfog the glass? No incense required. No 12-hour retreats. Try these simple resets the moment you feel the spiral. Pause plus breathe. 10 slow cycles. Breathing is the body's emergency brake. Slow inhales, slower exhales. Count them. Your heart rate obeys. Your attention returns. Micro retreat, 5 to 15 minutes. Step away without drama. Walk around the block. Wash your face. Make tea. Sit in a quiet corner. Your brain sorts signals when you stop supplying noise. Upgrade the question. Don't ask, why is this happening to me? Ask, What is the smallest helpful step I can take next? The right question shrinks monsters to manageable tasks. Remember, the first move in any crisis is not action, it's orientation. Clear the inner view, then choose your lane. Clarity before velocity. Imagine a slow drip from your ceiling. You place a bucket. It fills. You empty it. The next day, drip, 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 you repeat. You become world-class at bucket management. Still, your floor is wet. Buckets treat symptoms. Roofs end problems. Most people live at the bucket level. We answer the same apology texts. We patch the same budget holes. We fight about the same tiny things. The pattern persists because the root remains. A young novice told his teacher, "Every time I meditate, thoughts invade. I push them away, they come back." The teacher asked, "If a stray dog keeps entering your home, will you spend your life shooing it? Or will you find the gap where it slips in and close it?" When problems circle like vultures, ask 2 detective questions. What's really generating this? Go deeper than the headline. Is the problem money or money habits? Is the tension with your partner or unspoken expectations? Is the stress workload or boundaries? Is this a rerun? If the same scene keeps playing with different actors, you haven't fixed the script. Root-level work looks boring from the outside. From the inside, it's freedom. The leak stops, the floor dries, the buckets go back to the garage. 2 people. Same storm. Different outcomes. Person A. "This always happens to me. The world is unfair. I can't win." Person B. "This is rough. What's the next right move I control?" One lives in reaction, the other in response. 2 brothers grew up with a father who drank too much. Brother 1 repeated the cycle and blamed his childhood. Brother 2 never touched a bottle and said, "My childhood showed me exactly what not to do." Same pain, different meaning, different life. Pain is unavoidable. Power is optional. Shift your operating system in 3 fast steps. Catch the script. Hear the "why me" voice. Label it victim mode. Naming weakens it. Change the question. Replace "why me" with "given reality, what can I do now?" Curiosity creates options. Take 1 clean action. Don't wait for perfect. Send the email. Open the spreadsheet. Schedule the call. Small moves build momentum, and momentum rewires identity. You're not strong because you've never been hit. You're strong because you learned to stand back up with intention. From far away, mountains feel unclimbable. Up close, mountains are a sequence of steps. Problems are the same, overwhelming in summary, solvable in sequence. Here's the Peaceful Mind 5-step. Step 1. Define it clearly. Vague problems are unsolvable. Write 1 precise sentence. Not "my life is chaos." Try, "I need a stable job within 45 days." Specific is solvable. Step 2. Break it small. Big goals are just clusters of small tasks. Stable job becomes refresh CV, shortlist 10 roles, ask 3 referrals, schedule practice interviews, tighten LinkedIn, apply daily. Step 3. Generate options. Brainstorm without judging. The first idea is rarely the winner. The 5th might be genius. Give your brain permission to roam. Step 4. Move calmly. Action is the solvent for fear. Don't wait to feel confident. Confidence is a receipt you get after you act. Step 5. Learn plus adjust. No plan survives first contact. If something fails, that's data. Iterate. Edison didn't fail 1,000 times. He discovered 1,000 ways that didn't light. Keep the lights on. Run this loop and you'll notice something. Each cycle shrinks the next mountain. Skill compounds. Even with the method, 3 inner thieves will try to rob your calm. Fear. The inflator. Fear multiplies size. The longer you stare at the call you're avoiding, the larger it grows. Antidote. Tiny actions now. Fear hates movement. Anger, the backfire. Anger feels like fuel but burns the holder first. Before you speak, breathe. Before you type, wait. The calm sentence that solves the problem is never the one you almost screamed. Overthinking, the treadmill. You can run for hours and go nowhere. Decide with the best info you have, then adjust. Thinking is a tool. Rumination is a trap. Face fear. Cool anger. Exit loops. Your mind will feel lighter, and light minds lift heavy loads. Gardeners don't negotiate with weeds. They pull them early. Treat your mind like that. Journaling, empty the cup. 5 minutes, pen to paper. Dump worries, ideas, and unfinished loops. The page is a pressure valve. You'll sleep better because your mind knows where tomorrow's thoughts live. Gratitude, light in the tunnel. List 3 specifics every night. Not family, but my sister's random check-in call. Gratitude doesn't erase problems. It strengthens you to carry them without cracking. Reflection, experience wisdom. 10 quiet minutes. What did today teach me? Where was I peaceful? What will I try differently tomorrow? Reflection turns days into data, data into direction. A sharp mind is like a sharp axe, less strain, more result. Money issues bow to math. Skill gaps bow to practice. Relationship pain, that's graduate school. Most of our suffering involves faces we care about. This formula will give you 3 habits. Listen fully, choose peace over the urge to win, forgive to travel lighter. We'll build those in detail later. For now, know this: at the end of life, we don't regret the obstacles we solved. We regret the connections we didn't repair. This isn't a motivational poster. It's muscle memory we'll install. Small daily choices compound. Pause when triggered. Ask better questions. Act in inches. Journal at night. Thank on purpose. Reflect briefly. Repair quickly. Do this long enough and people will call you lucky. You'll know it's practice. There's a bamboo seed that appears lazy for years. Then, when ready, it rockets skyward in weeks. Did it grow overnight? No. It grew roots while no one clapped. That's your mind on this formula, quietly rooting, then visibly rising. Write 1 sentence defining your biggest current problem. Break it into 5 microsteps. Take the smallest step in the next 10 minutes. Journal 3 lines tonight. Before you sleep, name 3 gratitudes. You can't solve a problem when you're drowning in your thoughts. You can't think clearly when your emotions are louder than reason. That's why the first real battle you must win is the one inside your head. Imagine again you're driving through a violent thunderstorm. Rain is slamming on the windshield, lightning cutting across the sky. Your grip tightens on the wheel, but suddenly your windshield fogs up. Now, what's more dangerous? The storm outside, or your inability to see inside? That's exactly how life works. The problem outside is rarely what breaks you. It's the storm inside that blinds you. Fear, anger, and panic are the fog. When your inner world is unclear, even the smallest challenge looks fatal. That's why step 1 of the Peaceful Mind Formula is not to take action, not to fix things, not to run. It's to calm the storm within. A king once asked his wise men, "What is the greatest power a human being can possess?" One said, "Wealth, because with money you can buy anything." Another said, "Strength, because with power you can control others." A third said, "Knowledge, because wisdom rules all." But the eldest sage smiled and said quietly, "The greatest power is a peaceful mind, for with it, you can use wealth, strength, and knowledge wisely. Without it, all 3 will destroy you." Read that again. A peaceful mind is the greatest power, because when your mind is calm, you see paths that were invisible before. You think clearly, speak wisely, act effectively. But when your mind is chaotic, you say things you regret, make choices you can't reverse, and multiply the problem you were trying to solve. So the goal is not to escape the storm. The goal is to become calm within it. You don't need to meditate for hours, go to a monastery, or isolate yourself in nature to find calm. Peace doesn't require silence around you. It requires silence inside you. Here are 3 simple yet powerful practices to begin clearing the inner fog. 1. Pause and breathe when emotions rise like a wave. Pause before reacting. Take 10 slow breaths. Inhale deeply through your nose. Exhale slowly through your mouth. Focus only on the air moving in and out. Sounds simple, but it rewires your nervous system in seconds. Your mind slows down. Your heartbeat steadies. Your body remembers you're safe. 2. Step back before you break sometimes. Clarity arrives only when you step away. Walk outside. Make tea. Sit in silence. Write a few lines in a notebook. Give your mind permission to reset. When you return, the storm won't feel as wild as it did before. 3. Ask a better question when your mind screams, "Why is this happening to me?" Pause. Replace it with, "What is this trying to teach me? What can I learn from this? What's one small thing I can do right now?" The quality of your questions shapes the quality of your peace. You weren't born calm. You learn calmness through practice. Every time you breathe through frustration, you are training peace. Every time you walk away from chaos instead of reacting, you are strengthening your discipline. Every time you respond with patience, you are building emotional muscle. This is why wise people seem unshakable. It's not because they have easier lives. It's because they have trained their inner world to remain still while the outer world burns. Calmness is not weakness. It is strength under control. Think of your mind like a glass of water. If you drop mud in it, the water becomes cloudy. But if you let it sit undisturbed, the dirt slowly sinks, and the water clears on its own. When your mind feels muddy, don't shake it more. Sit, breathe. Let stillness do the cleaning. Silence is not the absence of noise. It is the presence of clarity. And clarity is what you need before you make any move. Peace is not a one-time act. It's a daily discipline. Try this simple evening routine for the next 7 days. When you lie in bed, close your eyes. Breathe deeply 5 times. Think of 3 moments from the day you handled calmly. Whisper, "I did my best today." This single act rewires your subconscious to associate calmness with pride instead of guilt. You can't stop storms from coming. You can't control every outcome. But you can always control how you face them. And that's what separates chaos from clarity, panic from peace, confusion from wisdom. The calm mind doesn't ignore the problem. It just refuses to let the problem control its peace. Because when your inner world is quiet, your outer world finally starts to make sense. In the next chapter, we'll go deeper into why most of your problems repeat themselves. You'll learn why life keeps showing you the same lesson in new disguises until you finally fix the real cause, not just the symptom. Because solving the surface never brings peace. You have to go deeper to the root. If your ceiling starts leaking, you don't waste time collecting water. You climb up and fix the hole. Yet in life, most people never fix the hole. They just get better at managing the drip. You argue with your partner again and again. You get anxious before every deadline. You overspend, promise to do better, and repeat the cycle next month. Different days. Same story. That's because you're busy emptying buckets instead of repairing roofs. You're solving symptoms, not causes. You're chasing short-term comfort instead of long-term clarity. And until you understand the root, your problems will keep recycling under new names. Life repeats lessons until you learn them. Ever notice how similar your challenges are, even when people and places change? Different partner, same emotional triggers. Different job, same burnout. Different project, same fear of failure. That's not coincidence. It's a message. Your life keeps handing you the same exam until you pass it. A young monk once complained to his teacher, "Master, every time I meditate, unwanted thoughts rush in. I push them away, but they come back. I feel like a failure." The teacher smiled and asked, "If a dog keeps entering your house, will you spend your whole life chasing it out? Or will you finally look for the hole it walks through?" The monk understood. His problem wasn't the thoughts, it was the open door that allowed them in. That's exactly how we live. We chase away consequences instead of closing the doorways that keep inviting them back. You'll never find peace if you keep playing whack-a-mole with your problems. You must find where they begin and seal it. To uncover the root, you need radical honesty. Ask yourself, what's really causing this? Not what's visible, but what's underneath it. Examples. The problem isn't, "I'm always broke." The root might be poor budgeting, emotional spending, or fear of saying no. The problem isn't, "People always use me." The root might be weak boundaries or a need for approval. The problem isn't, "I can't focus." The root might be overstimulation, guilt, or lack of rest. Surface-level problems are just the smoke. The root is the fire. Until you find the fire, the smoke will always return. Whenever you face a problem, stop reacting and ask, what is this problem trying to reveal about me? Maybe it's showing where you still need discipline, confidence, or forgiveness. Has this pattern appeared before? If it has, you're not facing something new. You're facing something unfinished. Recognizing repeating patterns is not weakness. It's awareness. And awareness is the first step toward freedom. Self-awareness isn't about judging yourself. It's about observing without denial. Here's a simple process you can use. Step 1. Write down the problem clearly. Example, I keep arguing with my coworker. Step 2. List what you did to fix it before. Maybe you ignored it, complained, or avoided them. Step 3. Ask why each attempt failed. Maybe because you never expressed boundaries directly. Step 4. Look for the repeating emotional trigger. Do you feel disrespected, unheard, or insecure? That's your clue. Step 5. Identify the deeper lesson. Perhaps life is teaching you to speak calmly yet firmly, or to detach from unnecessary drama. Once you identify the lesson, the pattern dissolves. Because lessons learned don't repeat. You can decorate a broken wall, but the cracks will show again. You can smile for the world, but your heart knows what still hurts. You can distract yourself with work or pleasure, but the silence of the night will remind you what's unresolved. Problems don't disappear because you avoid them, they mature. And when they return, they come back stronger, asking the same question louder. Facing the root isn't comfortable, but avoiding it is far more painful. Here's the paradox. The moment you stop running from the root, peace appears. Why? Because understanding brings control. You no longer feel like life is happening to you. You realize it's responding to you. Every conflict, every fear, every failure, each one is feedback. The world mirrors your inner architecture. Change within and the outer world slowly aligns. That's not philosophy. That's psychology. Let's go back to the leaky ceiling. When you finally climb up, patch the hole and seal it tight, something magical happens. Quiet. No more buckets. No more panic at every drop. That's what self-awareness feels like. At first, it's uncomfortable to climb up and face the source. But once you do, the noise stops. And peace finally has room to grow. Most people spend their lives reacting. But the wise pause, observe, and understand. The next time something frustrates you, don't rush to fix it. Study it. Ask, what's the real message here? What truth have I been avoiding? You'll start seeing every problem as a map, pointing toward the part of you that still needs healing, structure, or courage. And once you heal that part, you rise. Stronger, wiser, quieter. There are two types of people in the world. Those who see problems as punishment, and those who see them as practice. Those who say, why me? And those who ask, what now? That difference, the mindset, decides whether you stay stuck or rise strong. Life doesn't choose favorites. Pain visits everyone. But it's your response that writes the story. Two brothers grow up in the same broken home. Their father is an alcoholic, violent, angry, lost. Years later, one son becomes exactly like him, drowning his pain the same way. When asked why, he says, because of my father. The other brother never touches alcohol. When asked why, he says, because of my father. Same father, same story, different response. Pain didn't decide their fate. Perspective did. The victim mindset sounds like this. Life is unfair. No one understands me. I can't do anything about it. Everything is against me. It's seductive because it offers comfort without effort. You get to be right, but you give away your power. You blame the world, so you never have to change. You get sympathy, but you lose growth. Victimhood feels safe because it means you never risk failure again. But it's a cage built from excuses. The master mindset doesn't deny pain. It simply redirects it. Sounds like this. Yes, it hurts. But I'll learn something here. This situation is tough. What can I control? I don't know how yet, but I'll figure it out. A master never claims to control life, only their response to it. They don't wait for peace to appear. They create it through clarity, discipline, and patience. The victim says, "I'll feel better when things change." The master says, "Things will change when I get better." Step 1. Catch the thought. The first step to power is awareness. When your mind starts whispering, "Why me?" catch it. That's the victim's voice. The sooner you notice it, the sooner you can interrupt it. Step 2. Change the question. Instead of "Why is this happening to me?" ask, "What is this teaching me? What can I do about it? What's one small step forward?" Questions are mental steering wheels. Change them and you change direction. Step 3. Take one calm action. Don't wait for motivation or confidence. Action comes first. Confidence follows. Take one small, deliberate step. Send the message. Clean the desk. Go for the run. Make the call. Motion shatters fear. Stillness feeds it. Every small action, especially when you don't feel ready, is a vote for your future self. When you act despite fear, you're casting a vote for strength. When you choose patience over reaction, you're voting for wisdom. When you forgive instead of retaliate, you're voting for peace. The person you become is simply the one you vote for the most. You can't control outcomes. You can't control what people think, say, or do. But you can always control how you respond, how you speak, and where you focus. That's real power. Power doesn't mean controlling the storm. It means steering your ship with calm hands when the sky breaks open. Remember this: you can lose everything and still be powerful if you don't lose your inner control. That's mastery. You stop complaining. You realize talking about the problem isn't progress, it's noise. You save your energy for action. You take radical responsibility. You stop saying, "It's not my fault," and start saying, "It's my move." Responsibility doesn't mean blame. It means ownership. You see challenges as training. Every tough day becomes a gym for your mind. Pain becomes a coach. You stop asking life to be easy and start asking to be stronger. Listen to how you talk to yourself. That's the voice building or breaking your mindset. A victim speaks in despair. A master speaks in direction. Instead of, "I can't handle this," say, "I can handle this one step at a time." Instead of, "I'm tired of failing," say, "Every setback is shaping my foundation." Instead of, "I'm unlucky," say, "I'm learning what luck requires." Your inner dialogue sets your outer reality. Guard it like your most valuable asset because it is. Life mirrors your energy. When you stop acting powerless, opportunities appear that used to hide from you. When you move like a creator, not a victim, you start noticing options where you once saw walls. It's not magic, it's perception. A victim's mind is blind to possibility. A master's mind is trained to see patterns, leverage, and lessons. That's why peace begins with ownership. Because once you own your response, nothing owns you. Being a master doesn't mean you don't feel pain. It means you don't let pain make your decisions. It means you still feel the fear, but you don't run from it. You still feel the anger, but you don't let it speak for you. You still face chaos, but you don't let it rewrite your identity. Peace is not numbness. It's stability. You become untouchable not by avoiding emotions, but by mastering them. Take a notebook. Draw 2 columns. Label one victim thoughts and the other master thoughts. Now fill them. Victim thought, master thought. This always happens to me. This is my chance to respond differently. I'm unlucky. I can learn from this pattern. It's not fair. Life isn't fair. But I can be prepared. I failed. I found one way that didn't work. Whenever a problem hits, open this page. Rewrite your reaction. Reclaim your peace. One day something will click. You'll face a problem that once terrified you, and you'll notice your mind doesn't panic. It pauses. It analyzes. It breathes. Chooses. That's the exact moment you'll realize. You've shifted. You're no longer reacting. You're responding. You're no longer a victim of life. You're a master of yourself. And from that day on, your peace won't depend on what happens to you. It'll depend on who you've become. Every problem feels enormous when you stare at it as one big mountain. But mountains are not climbed in leaps, they're climbed in steps. And once you learn the right steps, no mountain feels impossible again. This is the heart of the Peaceful Mind Formula. A simple, powerful, and repeatable 5-step method that turns chaos into clarity and confusion into calm action. Let's walk through it. Slowly, carefully, intentionally. Most people never solve their problems because they never define them precisely. They drown in vague words like, "My life's a mess," "Everything's falling apart," or "I feel stuck." But the truth is, you can't fix what you can't name. Defining the problem clearly is like turning on the light in a dark room. You can finally see where to move. Example: not "my life is a mess," but "I need a stable job that supports my expenses within 45 days. Not "I'm unhappy," but "I feel lonely because I've stopped spending time with friends and family." Specific language makes the mind focus. Vague thinking multiplies panic. So, grab a notebook and write one clear sentence that captures the problem. The sharper your definition, the faster you find direction. A giant problem is just a bunch of small problems holding hands. If you try to tackle all of them at once, your brain freezes. But if you separate them, each one becomes manageable. Example: the problem, "I need a new job," breaks down into: update my resume, create a list of 5 companies I admire, contact 3 mentors or friends for referrals, apply to at least 5 openings this week, prepare and practice for interviews. Suddenly, "I need a new job" isn't a mountain anymore. It's a staircase. When your mind sees small steps, it calms down. And calmness unlocks consistency. This is where creativity meets problem solving. When your mind is calm, it can explore possibilities beyond panic. Brainstorm freely. Don't judge your ideas while they're being born. The first idea might not be the best one, but the 5th might be brilliant. Here's the rule: quantity first, quality later. Ask yourself, what are 5 ways I could approach this? What would someone wiser than me do? What if I only had 24 hours to start? When you think this way, your mind shifts from stuck to strategic. It's not about having all the right answers. It's about creating enough options to find one that works. Remember, imagination is not fantasy. It's preparation for reality. The hardest part of solving a problem is starting. Fear waits at the door of every first step, whispering, "What if it doesn't work?" But here's the truth. You don't need the full plan to start moving. You just need the next step. Don't wait for confidence. Confidence comes after you take action. Don't wait for the perfect moment. It will never come. When you move, fear shrinks. When you wait, fear grows. If your goal is to fix a relationship, send the first text. If your goal is to rebuild finances, open the spreadsheet. If your goal is health, take the first walk. Small action, visible progress, renewed energy, peace. That's how you build momentum, and momentum is what destroys anxiety. No plan works perfectly the first time. You'll make mistakes. You'll take wrong turns. That's normal. The difference between failure and feedback is how you interpret it. When something doesn't work, don't ask, "Why did I fail?" Ask, "What can I learn?" Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, said it best: "I didn't fail 1,000 times. I discovered 1,000 ways that didn't work." Every setback gives you data. Every mistake reveals direction. Every effort, even imperfect, teaches your next move. So repeat this process. Define. Break down. Imagine. Adjust. Do it long enough and problem-solving becomes second nature. Your mind becomes structured. Your emotions become balanced. And your confidence grows because you've proven to yourself that you can figure things out no matter what. When life feels chaotic, your brain screams for clarity. This formula gives it exactly that, a structure to follow when emotions take over. Structure creates safety. Safety creates peace. And peace creates better solutions. Think about it. Every time you use this formula, you're training your brain to respond instead of react. You're teaching your mind that problems are not chaos. They're puzzles. And puzzles are meant to be solved, not feared. There was once a young climber who stood at the base of a massive mountain. He looked up and said, "It's too high. I'll never make it." An old climber nearby smiled and said, "Stop looking at the top. Look at your feet. You only need to take one step and then another. The mountain doesn't care how fast you move. It only rewards the one who keeps climbing." Days passed. Weeks passed. The young climber took one step every morning. And one day, without realizing it, he stood at the summit. The same applies to life. Don't stare at the mountain. Focus on the next step under your feet. Let's apply it to real problems. Example 1. Overwhelmed by debt. Define. I owe $5,000 and need a plan to repay it in 1 year. Break down. Budget expenses. Cut unnecessary costs. Increase side income. Imagine. Sell unused items. Freelance. Negotiate with creditors. Act. Create a spreadsheet and start paying $10 today. Adjust. Review progress weekly and modify as needed. Peace doesn't come from zero debt. It comes from clear direction. Example 2. Broken relationship. Define. I want to rebuild trust with my partner. Break down. Apologize sincerely. Rebuild consistency. Communicate better. Imagine. Seek counseling. Write a letter. Spend quality time weekly. Act. Start with a conversation today. Adjust. Observe reactions. Stay patient. Improve one area at a time. Progress, not perfection, rebuilds peace. Every problem gives you 2 paths. Panic or progress. One leads to exhaustion. The other leads to evolution. When you stop treating problems as curses and start treating them as classes, you begin to grow wiser, calmer, and sharper. The more problems you solve, the more unshakable your mind becomes. Because now you know the process works. No matter what life throws, you've got a formula that won't fail you. You can't control how high the mountain is, but you can always control your next step. Define the problem. Break it small. Imagine solutions. Act calmly. Adjust with wisdom. That's the 5-step solve, the core of the Peaceful Mind Formula. And when this becomes your default response, peace becomes your natural state. Because peace doesn't mean no problems. It means no panic. Even if you know the formula, even if you've mastered your mindset, there are still 3 enemies that will sneak into your mind and try to destroy your peace. They are invisible, they are powerful, and they live inside all of us. Their names are fear, anger, and overthinking. They're the hidden thieves that steal your focus, your clarity, and your strength. And until you learn how to disarm them, they will keep turning small problems into heavy burdens. Let's unmask each one, see how they work and how to defeat them for good. Fear is not the enemy itself. It's a messenger. It tells you where you've stopped believing in yourself. The problem is not fear, it's the story you attach to it. When fear whispers, "You can't," it's rarely speaking truth. It's just trying to keep you safe by keeping you small. It's your ancient survival brain doing what it's always done, protecting you from risk, rejection, and discomfort. But what once protected you from lions now prevents you from living. Fear magnifies the unknown. It paints the worst-case scenario in vivid color. It makes the future look like a battlefield you're not strong enough to cross. You delay the conversation. You avoid the opportunity. You say, "I'll start tomorrow." That's fear's greatest trick. It convinces you that waiting equals safety. But in reality, waiting equals stagnation. Every minute you let fear drive, your dreams get further away. The antidote to fear isn't confidence, it's movement. You don't overcome fear by thinking about it. You overcome fear by acting through it. Every time you take a step despite shaking hands and pounding heart, fear loses power. It feeds on avoidance and it starves on action. Think small. If you fear public speaking, speak to 3 people first. If you fear rejection, send 1 message anyway. If you fear failure, try once, just to see what happens. Each small act is a drop of courage. And courage, repeated, becomes calm. Because fear can't survive in the same space as forward motion. Anger is seductive, feels powerful. It makes you feel alive, righteous, strong. But it's a fire that always burns the hand that holds it. There's a story of a man who carried hot coals in his palm. waiting to throw them at his enemy. He never got the chance because before he threw them, the coals had already burned him. That's anger. Every angry word, every vengeful thought, every grudge scorches you first. Anger doesn't always look loud. Sometimes it hides behind sarcasm, cold silence, or bitterness. Sometimes it disguises itself as, "I'm just being honest," when it's really resentment speaking. Uncontrolled anger blurs logic. You say what you don't mean. You act before you think. And often, when the smoke clears, regret sits where pride once was. When you feel the spark of anger, you have 3 seconds to choose peace or pain. Here's what to do in those 3 seconds. Pause. Don't reply. Don't react. Just stop. Breathe. A slow exhale is the extinguisher for emotional fire. Step back. Physically or mentally. Gain perspective. Look at the situation from above. Most problems dissolve when viewed from a calm distance. The insult that once felt unbearable becomes irrelevant. The argument that seemed worth fighting loses its meaning. The strongest person in the room isn't the loudest one. It's the one who can remain calm when provoked. Anger wants you to react. Wisdom tells you to respond. Choose wisdom. If fear freezes you and anger blinds you, overthinking traps you in circles. You replay every possible scenario in your head. You analyze, compare, predict, and doubt. You waste hours trying to figure it all out, but end up more confused than before. Overthinking feels productive, but it's just worry wearing a business suit. It drains your energy. It turns every decision into a marathon. It robs sleep, creativity, and clarity. You plan for the future so much that you stop living in the present. You imagine 10 possible disasters, but 9 never happen, and the 10th was never that bad. You've fought wars in your mind that reality never started. Clarity comes from doing, not thinking. You don't need to know every step before you move, just the next one. Ask yourself, what's one small thing I can do right now that moves me forward? Then do it. Don't wait for perfect timing. Don't wait for 100% certainty. It doesn't exist. Once you act, you'll see the road unfold. Decisions create direction, and direction creates peace. Remember, thinking is useful, but ruminating is not. You don't need more information. You need more action. Fear makes you overthink. Overthinking makes you angry at yourself for not acting. Anger makes you fearful of relationships and reactions. It's a cycle, and the way out is calm awareness. The next time one of these emotions grabs you, just name it. This is fear. This is anger. This is overthinking. Labeling emotion takes away its power. Because the moment you recognize it, you are no longer inside it, you're observing it. And observation is control. Here's a small exercise. When fear arises, act small. When anger arises, pause and breathe. When overthinking arises, decide and move. That's your 3-step defense system. Repeat it daily until it becomes automatic. Eventually, you'll realize your peace was never lost. It was just buried under noise. A heavy mind is filled with fear, anger, and endless thoughts. A light mind is filled with awareness, acceptance, and focus. A heavy mind fights everything. A light mind flows through everything. To live peacefully, you must travel light. Drop what doesn't serve your peace, and carry only what strengthens it. You don't defeat life by force, you win by understanding. The real warrior is not the one who attacks. It's the one who remains calm in chaos, focused under pressure, and silent in provocation. Calmness isn't weakness, it's mastery under control. Stillness isn't inaction, it's action with precision. Once you master that, you can walk through storms with a steady heart and a clear head. A farmer doesn't wait for weeds to overrun his field before he starts tending to it. He waters daily, pulls weeds early, and protects his crops long before they grow. Your mind works the same way. If you wait for chaos to appear before taking care of your inner world, it's already too late. Peace must be cultivated daily like a living garden. And just like a farmer uses tools, you have tools too. They're simple, they're ancient, they're powerful. They don't require perfection, only consistency. Here are 3 tools that will help you build and protect your peace of mind. Journaling, gratitude, and reflection. Let's go deeper. Your mind is like a cup of water. If you keep pouring thoughts, worries, and memories into it without ever emptying it, it eventually spills over. Journaling is how you pour it out. When you write, you remove the noise that clogs your clarity. You transfer our confusion from the mind to the page. And in doing so, you lighten your emotional load. It's not about fancy words or deep essays. You don't have to be a writer. You just have to be honest. Write as you think, not as you want it to sound. No filter, no grammar, no judgment, because the paper never argues, never interrupts, and never betrays. It just listens. Each night, before sleeping, write down everything on your mind, good or bad. Don't organize, just release. List what worried you most today. Then, next to each worry, write one possible action you can take tomorrow. End your page with one sentence of closure. I did my best today. Tomorrow, I'll try again calmly. When you sleep after journaling, your mind rests easier because it knows it doesn't have to keep spinning thoughts. It already emptied them. Over time, this simple act becomes your mental detox. The pen becomes your therapist. The page becomes your safe room. Gratitude doesn't ignore pain. It balances it. It reminds you that even on your darkest days, there are still tiny flickers of light. The human mind has a bias. It naturally focuses on danger, loss, and what's missing. That's how we've survived as a species. But survival mode and peace mode are opposites. Gratitude pulls you out of survival and places you into awareness. It rewires your focus from what's wrong to what's right, from what's missing to what's already here. And when you start noticing blessings, your nervous system calms down. Your energy shifts. Your world feels fuller. Do this simple 3-step ritual daily. Every night, list 3 things you're grateful for, but be specific. Not family, but the laugh my brother gave me this morning. Not health, but the fact I could walk under the sun today. Feel it. Don't just write. Experience it again for a moment. Let the feeling expand in your chest. When life feels heavy, revisit your list. It's proof that even storms have sunlight. The key is not quantity but presence. You can't be anxious and grateful at the same time. The two emotions can't coexist. Gratitude is how you reset your emotional frequency. In a noisy world, silence is a luxury few practice. But silence is where wisdom speaks. Reflection is simply the art of sitting quietly and asking, what did I learn today? Where was I patient? Where did I lose my peace? And why? You don't need an hour. 10 minutes of stillness is enough. No music, no phone, no distractions. Just breath and awareness. When you reflect, you convert experience into wisdom. Without reflection, life just passes by. Lessons repeat. With reflection, life becomes your teacher. Mistakes become insights. Try this short nightly exercise. Sit comfortably in silence. Breathe slowly for a minute. Replay your day from morning to night like a movie. Observe yourself not to judge, but to understand. Ask, where could I have responded with more peace? End by visualizing tomorrow's version of you doing it better. This habit, practiced daily, will turn ordinary days into chapters of growth. It's like downloading the wisdom of your own life in real time. These tools complement each other perfectly. Journaling empties your mind. Gratitude fills your heart. Reflection refines your spirit. Use them together and your mental landscape transforms. You'll wake up lighter, sleep deeper, and handle life's noise with newfound clarity. And the best part? They cost nothing, only time, honesty, and consistency. At first, these practices feel small, too simple to matter, but like drops of water carving stone, their effect grows in visible roots. Day after day, you'll notice subtle shifts. You'll react slower. You'll worry less. You'll forgive faster. You'll breathe deeper. Peace doesn't arrive like thunder. It grows like dawn, quietly, gently, until it fills the room. Here's a simple daily structure you can follow starting tonight. Morning. 1 minute of stillness. 1 gratitude thought for the day ahead. 1 clear intention. Today, I will respond calmly. Daytime. Whenever stress rises, Pause, inhale, exhale slowly 3 times. Remind yourself, peace first, action second. Night, journal your thoughts. List 3 gratitudes. Reflect on your lessons. Whisper, I am growing calmer each day. Repeat for 21 days, and watch your mind shift from restless to resilient. Peace isn't something that just appears when life behaves. It's something you train like muscle. Every breath, every choice, every calm response strengthens it. The most peaceful people you've ever met aren't born lucky. They just practice peace daily until it becomes their natural rhythm. You can master your thoughts. You can train your habits. You can even build deep inner peace. But sooner or later, life will place you face to face with the hardest test of all people. Because let's be honest, most of life's pain doesn't come from traffic, money, or deadlines. It comes from words that hurt, expectations that disappoint, and people who misunderstand or betray us. You can solve money problems with planning. You can solve skill problems with learning. But relationship problems, they demand emotional intelligence, the ability to stay calm in chaos, compassionate in conflict, and forgiving in pain. When a stranger hurts you, it's annoying. When someone close to you does, it's devastating. Why? Because we attach emotion to expectation. We expect loyalty, honesty, respect, understanding, and when those are broken, it's not just our mind that aches. It's our soul. That's why people problems pierce deeper than any other pain. They challenge your self-worth. They question your judgment. They shake your peace. But if you can learn to handle relationship pain with wisdom instead of reaction, you'll unlock a level of freedom most never find. Once, 2 neighbors argued over a fruit tree that stood between their houses. One said, "It's on my land, so the fruits are mine." The other said, "But the branches hang over my roof, so the fruits belong to me." They fought for years, stopped speaking, grew bitterness like weeds. Then one stormy night, the tree fell. When they came outside, they saw the broken trunk lying between them, rotted, useless, gone. And in that silence, both realized they had wasted years fighting over something that no longer existed. That's what most conflicts are. Temporary things that steal permanent peace. Most people don't listen to understand. They listen to reply. They're not hearing. They're waiting for their turn to win. But here's a truth few realize. Being heard is more powerful than being right. When people feel understood, their anger dissolves faster than any logic can explain. The next time someone argues, don't rush to defend yourself. Pause. Look at them. Let them finish. Then say, I understand how you feel. You don't have to agree, but you do have to acknowledge. Listening is not weakness. It's wisdom wearing patience. Ask yourself in every argument, do I want to be right, or do I want to be at peace? Your ego wants to win. Your heart wants to heal. Choose carefully. Sometimes the most powerful sentence you can say is, you're right. Not because you lost, but because you refuse to waste energy proving yourself to someone committed to misunderstanding you. Real strength is silent when pride is loud. Remember, winning arguments builds ego. Solving them builds relationships. And the older you grow, the more you realize peace is worth more than being right. Forgiveness doesn't mean what they did was okay. It means you're done carrying the weight of it. Anger is like a backpack full of stones. You carry it thinking it will hurt the other person, but it only exhausts you. Forgive not because they deserve peace, but because you do. You can't walk into a peaceful life while dragging bags of resentment behind you. Acknowledge the pain. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Name it. Feel it. Understand the lesson. Every hurt teaches something. Trust, boundaries, strength, or self-worth. Write a letter you'll never send. Pour every emotion on paper. Then rip it or burn it. Let the flame represent release. Bless and move on. Not because they earned it, but because your peace matters more than your pride. Forgiveness is self-respect disguised as grace. Harmony doesn't mean no disagreements. It means disagreeing wisely. You can love someone and still think differently. You can respect someone and still say no. You can walk away from someone and still wish them peace. Boundaries are not walls, they're doors with locks. They don't shut people out. they keep peace in. The key is how you communicate your truth with calmness, not cruelty. Instead of saying, "You're always wrong," try, "I see this differently." Instead of shouting, "You don't care," try, "I feel unseen right now." Your tone is half your message, and your calmness is the other half. You'll know you've grown when you can hear gossip about yourself and stay calm. You can walk away from conflict without needing the last word. You can love people who disappointed you without reopening old wounds. That's real strength. That's emotional maturity. That's peace in practice. Because it's not what people do to you that defines your peace. It's how you choose to respond after they do it. Before reacting, try asking this simple question: will this matter in 5 years? Most conflicts that feel huge today will mean nothing a few years from now. Don't let temporary emotions make permanent damage. Time reveals how small most problems really are. Silence isn't always avoidance. Sometimes silence is understanding. You don't have to attend every argument you're invited to. You don't have to explain your peace to anyone who thrives on chaos. The more peaceful you become, the less interest you'll have in proving anything. Some people only understand drama. Let them misunderstand your silence. When you start prioritizing peace, some relationships will fade. Not because you stopped caring, but because chaos can't survive in calm energy. You'll lose people who feed on conflict, but you'll gain people who feed your soul. That's not loss, it's alignment. You don't owe anyone constant access to your energy. Protecting your peace is not selfish. It's sacred. Strong relationships don't happen by luck. They are built with 5 quiet habits: listening with full attention, speaking with honesty and kindness, apologizing without ego, forgiving without delay, loving without keeping score. Do that consistently, and you'll find yourself surrounded by people who reflect your peace instead of disturbing it. You can't control what others do. You can only control what you choose to hold on to. Every person you meet is a mirror. Some show you your patience, some show you your limits, and some show you your strength. When you start seeing people not as problems but as teachers, every conflict becomes a classroom, and every relationship becomes a lesson in love and wisdom. You've learned the pieces. Now it's time to live the practice. Because wisdom that stays in the mind doesn't change life. Only wisdom that reaches the habit level transforms you. The Peaceful Mind Formula isn't something you listen to once. It's something you live every day, quietly, intentionally, until it becomes your second nature. This chapter is not about ideas. It's about integration, how to make peace your default setting, not your occasional visitor. Let's start by remembering what we've built so far. Problems are not punishments, they are teachers. Calmness before action leads to clarity. Understanding the root stops repetition. Master mindset over victim mindset shifts energy. 5-step formula solves anything through structure. Fear, anger, and overthinking are enemies of clarity. Journaling, gratitude, and reflection are daily anchors. Relationships test your calmness and deepen your wisdom. Now comes the real question. How do you live this? You don't need to rebuild your life overnight. You just need to change one response at a time. Every day gives you multiple chances to practice peace. When someone speaks rudely, pause before replying. When a plan fails, breathe instead of panicking. When your mind starts racing, write instead of worrying. That's it. Those small, silent victories are how peace takes root. Peace is not created in meditation halls. It's created in traffic, arguments, and unexpected problems. The battlefield is ordinary life. The pause is your superpower. It's the thin line between chaos and calm, mistake and mastery, regret and wisdom. Before you speak, pause. Before you decide, pause. Before you quit, pause. In that pause, your higher self whispers what your ego would have shouted over. You'll find that most problems aren't problems. They're just reactions that were never paused. You don't need to be peaceful all the time. You just need to be peaceful more often than before. Some days you'll lose your calm. You'll overthink, overreact, overfeel. That's okay. Peace isn't perfection. It's progress under awareness. Each time you fall, get up faster. Each time you react, reflect sooner. Each time you fail, forgive yourself deeper. Progress, not perfection, is the real sign of mastery. Here's a simple structure for peaceful living. Think of it as your daily operating system. Morning. Spend 5 minutes in silence before you touch your phone. Set one calm intention. Today, I will respond, not react. Visualize handling challenges with grace. Daytime. Take micropauses between tasks. When frustration rises, focus on breath, not blame. Speak 20% less. Listen 20% more. Evening. Journal the day's emotions. Reflect on what you learned. Write 3 things you're grateful for. Whisper before sleep. I am learning to live in peace. That's it. Simple, repeatable, and deeply powerful. Consistency beats intensity every time. 5 minutes daily will change you more than an hour once a month. Every new challenge is an exam testing your practice. When stress comes, instead of asking, why now? Ask, what is this trying to strengthen in me? If you keep seeing challenges as opportunities to refine your peace, you'll become mentally untouchable. Someone insults you? That's a test of composure. You lose money? That's a test of detachment and planning. Plans collapse? That's a test of flexibility. You're never being punished, you're being prepared. Peace is not only internal, it's also environmental. Your surroundings either protect your calm or poison it. Audit your inputs. What do you watch? Who do you talk to? What do you feed your mind every morning? If it drains you, limit it. If it feeds you, multiply it. You can't plant peace in polluted soil. Choose what and who you let in. Sometimes protecting your peace will look like disappearing for a while. And that's okay. Silence is not withdrawal, it's maintenance. There's a famous story about the Chinese bamboo tree. When you plant its seed, nothing seems to happen for the first year, or the second, or even the third. People laugh at you. They say you're wasting time. But in the 5th year, something miraculous happens. The bamboo shoots up 80 feet tall in just 6 weeks. Did it really grow in 6 weeks? No. It was growing all along, underground, building roots strong enough to sustain its height. Peace works the same way. The results take time. But underneath the surface, you're growing depth, patience, and resilience. And when your moment comes, you'll rise so fast people will call it sudden. But you'll know it was 5 years of quiet growth. Peace doesn't mean escaping life. It means facing it with grace. Problems will keep coming. Some small, some huge. That's the nature of existence. But the more you practice the formula, the faster you'll recover, the less you'll panic, and the stronger you'll feel after each one. Storms will still arrive, but now you'll walk through them instead of drowning in them. True peace expands when it's shared. Smile at strangers. Forgive quickly. Listen deeply. Compliment often. Pray silently for others' happiness. You never know whose storm your calm presence might calm. Your peace is not selfish, it's service. When you stay calm, you remind others that stillness is possible even in the noise. This formula is not about avoiding pain or pretending to be perfect. It's about becoming the kind of person who can walk through fire without burning up inside. The kind of person whose silence carries strength, whose calm is contagious, whose presence feels like safety. That's the real reward of living peacefully. Not the absence of chaos, but the ability to move through chaos with grace. Repeat these quietly each morning and night. I can handle what comes today. Peace is my power. I am not my thoughts. I am their observer. Every problem is an opportunity to grow. I choose calm over control. My peace is not negotiable. I am building quiet strength, one breath at a time. Words shape energy, and repeated energy becomes reality. Speak peace until it becomes your natural rhythm. At first, peace will feel like effort. You'll have to remind yourself, breathe consciously, correct your thoughts. But one day, you'll notice something different. You'll be in a situation that would have once sent you spiraling, and you'll handle it with ease. No panic, no chaos, just clarity. That's when you'll realize you've changed. You're no longer reacting. You're responding. You're no longer chasing calmness. It lives inside you. That's when peace stops being a goal and becomes your identity. We've reached the end of this journey. But peace, real peace, is not an ending. It's a way of walking through beginnings, middles, and endings with the same calm breath. You've heard every chapter. You've met every idea. Now it's time to integrate every truth into one simple realization. Peace is not the absence of problems. Peace is the presence of power inside you. Let's look back at what you've built through this audiobook. You learned that problems are not punishments. They're teachers, quietly shaping you into someone stronger. You learned to calm the storm within before trying to fix the storm outside. You saw that solving the root cause brings real peace, while surface fixes just repeat the cycle. You discovered the shift from victim to master, and how mindset is the gateway to control. You mastered the 5-step formula to solve any problem through structure and small, calm action. You faced the 3 enemies, fear, anger, and overthinking, and learned how to disarm them one by one. You began using the 3 tools, journaling, gratitude, and reflection, to protect your peace daily. You understood how to navigate relationships and conflicts with maturity, forgiveness, and perspective. And finally, you learned to live the formula, to breathe peace into your habits, your choices, and your response to life itself. Every chapter was a piece of armor. Every reflection was a seed planted in the soil of your mind. And now you stand as the gardener responsible for tending it each day. Peace doesn't mean sitting cross-legged in silence all day. It means staying centered when the world isn't. It's being able to listen when others shout. It's staying patient when plans collapse. It's walking through heartbreak with grace instead of bitterness. It's having the strength to pause instead of explode. It's trusting that you can rebuild even after everything falls apart. Peace is power, quiet, unshakable, unprovable power. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's steady, deep, and real. And once you find it, you never look at life the same way again. Because it will. No matter how peaceful you become, life will still send challenges. New ones, harder ones, unexpected ones. But now you'll be different. You'll remember to pause before reacting. You'll remember to breathe before deciding. You'll remember to observe instead of panic. You'll remember to ask, what is this teaching me? Instead of, why me? You'll remember that storms don't come to destroy you. They come to clear your path. That awareness turns fear into focus, turns chaos into clarity, turns pain into power. Every time you choose calmness over anger, you teach others what strength looks like. Every time you forgive instead of retaliate, you prove that healing is louder than hate. Every time you breathe instead of breaking, you inspire someone who's silently watching you. Your peace is not just for you. It's contagious. It spreads quietly, invisibly, but powerfully. The calmer you become, the more peaceful the world around you grows. You may never know who needed your calm that day, but they'll remember it. Let's bring everything into one line. The Peaceful Mind Formula can be summarized in 7 simple words. Control the inside, and the outside follows. If your inner world is messy, the world outside feels unbearable. But if your inner world is clear, even the toughest realities feel manageable. That's why peace begins within. Always. Not when things are easy, but precisely when they aren't. Life will never run out of problems. But each problem is an invitation to practice, to learn, to grow. The problem isn't the enemy. Your reaction is, and your reaction can always be changed. When you face life through this formula, every obstacle becomes a mirror showing you where you can become wiser. And once you see that, you stop fearing difficulty. You start welcoming growth. Make these promises to yourself and repeat them often. I will not let fear make my decisions. I will act even when my hands shake, because courage is built through movement. I will not let anger steal my wisdom. I will speak only when calmness can serve me better than silence. I will not let overthinking paralyze my peace. I will decide, act, and adjust because life rewards direction, not hesitation. If you live by these promises, peace will no longer be a dream. It will be your default. Someday soon, after months or years of quiet effort, you'll notice something. You'll wake up and realize that the noise in your head is quieter. You'll handle chaos with clarity. You'll forgive faster. You'll smile easier. You'll breathe slower. You'll stop running from life and start walking with it. That will be your bamboo moment, the day your inner growth finally becomes visible to the world. And everyone will call it sudden, but you'll know the truth. It was the silent work of countless peaceful choices. Peace isn't the reward you get when life becomes easy. Peace is the reason you can handle life when it becomes hard. It's not luck. It's not magic. It's mastery built one breath, one pause, one decision at a time. So whenever life feels heavy, remember this: you already hold the formula inside you. You already have the tools. You already know the way. All that's left is to practice until peace becomes who you are. This concludes the Peaceful Mind Formula: how to solve life's problems and live with calm clarity, created and brought to you by Audiobook 101. Usually, we summarize the world's best books on success, mindset, and personal growth. But this one was different. It was built from the ground up, just for you. If this audiobook touched your heart or gave you clarity, share it with someone who's struggling right now, because peace grows stronger when it's shared. Until next time, remember, life will always bring storms. But with a peaceful mind, every storm becomes your teacher. Breathe deeply, walk calmly, and let peace lead your way.